After my daughter's accident, her husband quietly changes the locks on their home, barring me from visiting, until I learn he's hiding evidence of her real cause of death. My daughter used to call me every morning. Even after she got married, she'd never miss a day. So the silence that week, it didn't just hurt, it screamed. My name is Joanna Fields. I'm 64 years old, and I live in a small suburb near Tacoma, Washington. I never imagined I'd be telling this story, but pain makes storytellers of us all, doesn't it? I raised my only child, Lily, on my own after her father passed. She was my whole world. Seeing her fall in love with Travis, I had my doubts, but she looked happy. And what mother doesn't want her child to be happy? But happiness doesn't vanish overnight, and locks don't get changed just because someone's grieving. If this story resonated with your soul, hit that subscribe button and tell me which country you're listening from in the comments. This one's personal. The rain hadn't stopped in 3 days, a relentless drizzle that mirrored the ache in my chest. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles pale, as I drove the familiar route to Lily's house. Her silence gnawed at me. 3 days without a call, without her voice chirping through the phone about her morning coffee or Travis's latest quirk. My daughter never missed a morning call. Not in 20 years, not even after she married him. The quiet wasn't just unusual, it was a wound. I pulled into the driveway of their modest 2-story home, the one Lily had painted pale blue, because it reminded her of the sky over Puget Sound. The curtains were drawn tight, no glow from the living room lamp she loved. I stepped out, the gravel crunching under my boots, and knocked on the door. My breath caught, waiting for her laugh, her quick footsteps. Nothing. The door creaked open, and Travis stood there, his broad shoulders filling the frame. His eyes, usually warm with that salesman's charm, were flat, like stones smoothed by a river. No greeting, no flicker of recognition. "Joanna," he said, voice low, almost a grunt. "Travis, where's Lily?" My words tumbled out, sharp with worry. "She hasn't called. Is she okay?" He looked past me at the rain-slicked street, and his jaw tightened. "There was an accident. She's gone." The world tilted. My hand shot to the door frame, nails digging into the wood. "Gone? What do you mean, gone?" Car lost control, wet roads. It was instant. His words were clipped, rehearsed, like he'd practiced them in front of a mirror. I stared at him, searching for something. Grief, tears, anything human. But he just stood there, arms crossed, blocking the doorway. No hug, no offer to sit, no trace of the man who'd vowed to love my daughter forever. "What happened?" I pressed, my voice cracking. "She was a careful driver. It was an accident, Joanna." He cut me off, his tone sharper now. "I don't have all the details. The police handled it." "Police?" My stomach twisted. Why didn't anyone call me? I'm her mother. "I've been dealing with it," he said, eyes flicking to the side. "I didn't want to bother you." "Bother me?" I stepped closer, my voice rising. "Lily was my daughter. You don't get to decide what bothers me." He exhaled, long and slow, like I was testing his patience. "Look, I'm grieving too. I need time. Can you just go?" I blinked, stunned. This wasn't the Travis I knew, the one who'd charmed Lily with his easy smile and brought me flowers on Mother's Day. This man was a stranger, cold and guarded, his words a wall between us. "Travis, please," I said, softer now, pleading. "Let me come in. I just want to see her things. No." His voice was final, like a door slamming shut. "Not now." He closed the door, the lock clicking with a sound that echoed in my bones. I stood there, rain soaking through my coat, my mind reeling. Lily, gone. It didn't make sense. She'd driven that road 1,000 times, knew every curve, every stop sign. And if it was instant, why did my heart scream that something was wrong? I climbed back into my car, hands trembling as I fumbled with the keys. My phone sat in the cup holder, silent. I opened it, scrolling to Lily's last text. "Mom, love you. Talk tomorrow." Sent 4 days ago. I pressed call, knowing it was futile, and listened to her voicemail greeting, her voice bright and alive. "Hey, it's Lily. Leave a message, and I'll call you back." Tears burned my eyes. She always called back, always. So why hadn't I felt peace when Travis said she was gone? Why did his words feel like a lie? The next morning, I sat at my kitchen table, a mug of coffee gone cold in my hands. The house was too quiet without Lily's calls, without her laughter filling the space. I'd raised her here, just the two of us, after her father's heart attack when she was 6. She'd been my anchor, my reason to keep going. Seeing her with Travis, building a life, had eased the ache of letting her go. But now I was adrift. I called the Tacoma police, my fingers shaking as I dialed. A woman answered, her voice calm but detached. "Tacoma PD, how can I help you?" "My name is Joanna Fields. My daughter, Lily Harper, was in an accident. I need to know what happened." A pause, then the sound of typing. "Can you confirm her date of birth?" I rattled off the date, June 12, 1995, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. More typing, then a longer pause. "Ma'am, I'm not seeing any recent reports under that name. Can you provide more details? Date of the accident? Location?" My throat tightened. "It was a few days ago. Wet roads, a car crash. Her husband, Travis Harper, told me. I'll need to check with the traffic division. Can I call you back?" "Yes, please," I said, giving her my number. "As soon as you can." I hung up, my pulse racing. No report. How could there be no record of my daughter's death? Travis said the police handled it. Was he lying, or was the system just slow? I needed answers, but every question opened a new wound. By noon, I couldn't sit still. I grabbed Lily's favorite teacup, the one with the chipped handle she'd painted with sunflowers when she was 10, and her childhood photo album, the one we'd flipped through together last Christmas, laughing over her gap-toothed grin. I drove back to her house, the teacup and album on the passenger seat like talismans. The rain had stopped, leaving the air heavy and damp. I knocked on the door, harder this time, my heart pounding. Travis opened it, but only a crack, his face half hidden. "Joanna, I told you I need space," he said, his voice low, almost a growl. "I brought some of Lily's things," I said, holding up the teacup. "I thought maybe we could go through them together. For her." His eyes flicked to the teacup, then back to me, and for a moment I thought I saw something. Fear, guilt, but it was gone as quickly as it came. "Not a good time," he said. "I'm sorry." "Travis, please," my voice broke, raw with desperation. "Lily would have wanted me here, you know that." He shook his head, his grip tightening on the door. "Lily's gone. Things are different now." "Different how?" I stepped closer, my anger flaring. "She was my daughter. This is her home. Why are you shutting me out?" "I'm not shutting you out," he snapped, but his eyes darted away, avoiding mine. I can't do this right now." He started to close the door, but I wedged my foot in the gap. "Travis, what aren't you telling me? What happened to her?" For a split second, his mask slipped, and I saw it. Panic, raw and unguarded. Then he shoved the door shut, the force knocking my foot back. I heard the deadbolt slide into place, a sound that felt like a blade through my heart. I stood there, clutching the teacup so tightly, I thought it might shatter. The locks had been changed. I tried my key, the one Lily had given me years ago, and it didn't fit. My daughter's home, the place where we'd baked cookies and watched old movies, was now a fortress, and I was the enemy. I slid into my car, the photo album untouched on the seat. My phone buzzed. A text from the police. No record of accident under Lily Harper. Checking further, will call. My breath hitched. No record, no accident. Then what had happened to my daughter? I glanced at the house, at the drawn curtains and the locked door. Travis was hiding something, and it wasn't just grief. Lily's voice echoed in my mind, her last text burning behind my eyes. "Mom, love you. Talk tomorrow." Tomorrow never came, and now I was locked out, left with questions that clawed at my soul. As I drove away, the weight of it settled in my chest. This wasn't just a tragedy. It was a secret, one I'd have to tear apart to find my daughter's truth. And I would, even if it broke me. The rain returned as I drove away from Lily's house, the wipers slicing through the downpour in a rhythm that matched my pounding heart. The teacup and photo album sat on the passenger seat, silent witnesses to my unraveling world. Travis's face lingered in my mind, his cold eyes, the flicker of panic when I pressed him. The police text burned in my pocket. No record of accident under Lily Harper. My daughter was gone, and the man who should have been grieving with me was locking me out, hiding something behind that bolted door. I pulled into my driveway, the familiar cedar-shingled house, feeling like a stranger's. Inside, I set the teacup on the kitchen counter, its sunflower pattern mocking me with memories of Lily's laughter. My phone sat silent, no call from the police, no answers. I clutched the photo album, flipping to a picture of Lily at 16, her hair wild from a day at the beach, her smile brighter than the sun. "What happened to you, baby?" I whispered, my voice breaking in the empty room. The phone rang, shattering the silence. I grabbed it, expecting the police, but the screen showed an unfamiliar number. My thumb hesitated, then pressed accept. "Hello?" My voice was hoarse, raw from tears. "Joanna, it's Naomi, from Lily's office." Her voice trembled, like she was holding back a sob. Naomi, Lily's co-worker, the one who'd brought homemade cookies to their team meetings. Lily had always called her a sweetheart. "Naomi," I said, gripping the phone tighter. "What's wrong? Is it true?" she asked, her words rushed. "Lily's gone." My throat closed. Travis said there was an accident, a car crash. I couldn't finish, the words too heavy. Naomi let out a shaky breath. "Oh God, I didn't know. But Joanna, something's not right. She texted me that morning. The day it happened." My heart stopped. "Texted you? What did she say?" "She was scared," Naomi said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "She said she was planning to tell you everything after work." "Tell me what?" I stood, the chair scraping against the floor. My pulse roared in my ears. Naomi hesitated, the silence stretching like a taut wire. I think she found something about Travis. We had lunch that day, and she was crying. She said he wasn't who she thought he was. The room spun. I gripped the counter, the edge biting into my palm. "What did she find?" "Naomi, please, I need to know." "She didn't say exactly," Naomi admitted, her voice thick with regret. "She was so upset, Joanna. She kept looking at her phone, like she was waiting for something. She said she'd call you that night, that she needed to tell you the truth. But then, I never heard from her again." The truth. The word landed like a stone in my chest. Lily, scared, crying, planning to tell me something about Travis, the man who'd changed the locks, who'd fed me a story about wet roads and instant death, a story the police couldn't confirm. "Naomi, did she say anything else?" I pressed. "Anything about where she was going? What she was doing?" "She mentioned a file," Naomi said slowly, as if piecing it together. "Something she found on Travis's laptop. She didn't tell me what was in it, but she said it changed everything. She was different after that. Jumpy, like she was afraid of being followed." A file. My mind raced, conjuring images of secret documents, hidden messages. What had Lily stumbled onto? And why hadn't she called me that morning, like always? I thought of her last text. "Mom, love you. Talk tomorrow." Had she been trying to protect me? "Joanna, I'm so sorry," Naomi said, her voice breaking. "I should have checked on her. I thought she'd be okay, that she'd talk to you." "It's not your fault," I said, though my voice shook. "Thank you for telling me. If you remember anything else, anything at all, please call." "I will," she promised. I loved her too, you know." I hung up, my hands trembling. The kitchen felt too small, the walls closing in. Lily, scared. Travis, not who she thought. A file that changed everything. And now, a locked house, and a husband who wanted me gone. The pieces didn't fit, but they pointed to one truth. Travis was hiding something, and it was tied to my daughter's death. I paced the room, my eyes landing on the teacup. Lily's teacup. She'd painted it during a summer art class, her hands smudged with yellow paint, her grin wide as she showed it off. "For you, Mom," she'd said, "so you'll always have sunshine." Now it was all I had left of her, unless I could find that file. I grabbed my keys, my resolve hardening. I needed to get into that house, to find whatever Lily had discovered. But Travis wasn't going to let me waltz in. I'd have to be smarter, quieter. I thought of the spare key Lily kept in the garden shed, hidden under a loose floorboard. If Travis hadn't found it, it might still work, or at least get me closer. My phone buzzed again, a voicemail from the police. I played it, my heart in my throat. "Ms. Fields, this is Officer Daniels. We've checked our records and contacted neighboring precincts. There's no report of a fatal accident involving Lily Harper in the last week. We're looking into it, but can you confirm the details her husband provided? Call me back. No accident, no report." Travis's story was crumbling, and with it, any trust I'd had in him. I thought of his cold eyes, the way he'd shoved the door shut. What was he hiding? And what had Lily meant to tell me? I slipped the phone into my pocket and headed for the door, the teacup in my hand. If someone close to Lily had passed, what would her final message have been? I could almost hear her voice, soft but fierce. "Mom, don't stop. Find the truth." That was my daughter. Brave, even when she was scared. I wouldn't let her down. Outside, the rain had slowed to a mist, the air thick with the scent of wet earth. I climbed into my car, the photo album still on the seat, a reminder of the life I was fighting for. Travis thought he could lock me out, but he didn't know me. I was Lily's mother, and I'd tear down every wall to find out what happened to her. The truth was out there, in that house, in that file, and I was going to find it, even if it meant facing the man who'd taken my daughter from me. The mist clung to my windshield as I drove away from home, Lily's teacup rattling in the cup holder, a fragile reminder of the daughter I'd lost. Naomi's words echoed in my mind. She was scared. She found something about Travis. The police voicemail only deepened the wound. No accident report, no trace of Lily's death in their system. Travis's story was a house of cards, and I was ready to blow it down. The spare key in the garden shed was my only hope, a slim chance to slip past his new locks and find whatever Lily had uncovered. My daughter had been trying to tell me something, and I wouldn't stop until I knew what it was. I turned onto Lily's street, my headlights cutting through the gray dawn. The house loomed ahead, its curtains still drawn, a fortress of secrets. I parked a block away, my heart pounding, as I slipped the teacup into my bag. The shed key was my first step, but I needed more than that. I needed proof. Travis wasn't just grieving, he was guarding something, and I was done waiting for answers. At the police station, I sat across from Officer Daniels, a middle-aged man with tired eyes and a notepad. My hands twisted in my lap as I recounted Travis's story. Wet roads, a car crash, an instant death. Daniels tapped his pen, his brow furrowing as he checked his computer. "No signs of brakes being applied," he said, reading from a preliminary report he'd pulled from a neighboring precinct. "No skid marks. It's like she never saw it coming." I leaned forward, my voice sharp. "That's impossible. Lily was a cautious driver. She'd never speed on wet roads, never miss a curve." Daniel shrugged, not unkindly. "Accidents happen, Ms. Fields. Sometimes people get distracted." "Distracted?" I snapped, my grief boiling into anger. She was my daughter. She didn't just lose control. And why wasn't I notified? Why is there no record under her name? He sighed, closing his notepad. "We're still verifying details. The report came from a rural precinct, not ours. I'll follow up, but it might take time." Time was something I didn't have. I left the station, the officer's words gnawing at me. No skid marks, no brakes. It wasn't just wrong, it was deliberate. Lily hadn't crashed. Something, or someone, had made sure she didn't stop. Back in my car, I drove to Lily's neighborhood, my mind racing. A neighbor's doorbell camera caught my eye, its lens glinting from a porch across the street. Lily had mentioned it once, laughing about how Mr. Grayson, the retired mechanic next door, loved his spy tech. If it recorded the front of her house, it might show something Travis didn't want me to see. I knocked on Grayson's door, my pulse hammering. He answered, a wiry man in his 70s, his flannel shirt tucked neatly into jeans. "Joanna, hell of a thing about Lily. I'm so sorry." "Thank you," I said, swallowing the lump in my throat. "Mr. Grayson, your doorbell camera, does it record the street, maybe Lily's house?" He nodded, scratching his chin. "Sure does. Gets everything from my porch to the corner. Want me to check the footage?" "Please," I said, my voice barely a whisper. We sat at his kitchen table, the laptop screen flickering as he pulled up the files. My stomach churned as he scrolled to the morning of the supposed crash. There, time-stamped 7:42 a.m., was Lily, alive, standing on her porch. My breath caught. She was arguing with Travis, her hands gesturing wildly, her face twisted with anger. Travis loomed over her, his posture rigid, pointing at her like he was issuing a command. 10 minutes later, Lily stormed off, slamming the car door and peeling out of the driveway. "She didn't look like someone about to lose control," Grayson muttered, his eyes narrowing. "That was no accident, was it?" I shook my head, tears burning my eyes. "Can you send me that footage?" "Already done," he said, tapping his phone. "You take care, Joanna, and be careful." The video was a knife to my heart, but it was also a spark. Lily hadn't just died. She'd been running from something. From him. I drove home, the footage looping in my mind. Travis's cold voice from Naomi's story, merging with his pointing finger. What had Lily found? And why had she been so scared? At home, I sat on the couch, the photo album open to a picture of Lily at 12, her hair in braids, holding a locked keepsake box she'd bought at a flea market. "For my secrets, Mom," she'd said, grinning. That box, she'd kept it into adulthood, tucked under her childhood bed. If she'd hidden anything, it would be there, in the room she'd left behind when she moved out. I drove to my house, the one Lily had grown up in, and climbed the stairs to her old bedroom. The door creaked open, revealing a space frozen in time. Her band posters, her lavender comforter, the desk where she'd studied for exams. My chest ached as I knelt by the bed, my fingers searching under the frame. There it was, the keepsake box, its brass lock glinting in the dim light. I grabbed a screwdriver from the garage, my hands shaking as I pried the lock open. The lid groaned, revealing a USB drive, a small notebook, and a yellow Post-it note. My breath stopped as I read the words in Lily's neat handwriting. "Mom, if anything ever happens, don't believe him." My knees buckled, and I sank to the floor, clutching the note. "Oh, Lily," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. I opened the notebook first, its pages filled with dates and fragments of thoughts. One entry, dated a week before her death, jumped out. "Found his files. He's lying about everything. I don't know who he is anymore." I plugged the USB into my laptop, my heart pounding as audio files loaded. The first was dated 2 weeks ago. Lily's voice trembling through the speakers. "Travis, what is this? These accounts, these names, where's this money coming from?" His voice, cold and clipped, cut through. "You shouldn't have looked. Drop it, Lily." "I can't," she said, her voice breaking. "This is wrong. I'm telling Mom. She'll know what to do." "You tell anyone," Travis hissed, "and you'll regret it." Another file, dated the day before the crash, was worse. Lily was crying, her words choked with fear. "If I go to the police, what will you do?" Travis's voice was ice. "Try me. You won't live to make that mistake." The room spun. I gasped, my hand flying to my mouth. "He killed her." The words tore out of me, raw and ragged. Travis hadn't just lied about the accident, he'd made sure there was one. The doorbell footage, the lack of skid marks, Lily's fear. It all pointed to him. My daughter had found something big enough to threaten him, and he'd silenced her. I clutched the USB, my resolve hardening. Travis thought he could lock me out, bury the truth behind his cold eyes, and change locks. But I had proof now. Lily's voice, her words, her courage. I thought of her post-it. Don't believe him. She'd known he'd lie, known he'd try to erase her, but she'd left me the tools to fight back. I stood, wiping my tears, the notebook and USB in my hands. The police would listen now. The footage, the audio, the note, it was enough to force them to act. But as I headed downstairs, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Stop digging, Joanna. You won't like what you find." My blood ran cold. I glanced out the window, half expecting to see Travis's car in the driveway. The street was empty, but the threat was real. He knew I was close, and he was watching. I thought of Lily, storming off that porch, her face fierce even in her fear. She'd been brave, and now it was my turn. I dialed Officer Daniels, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "I have evidence," I said. "My daughter didn't die in an accident. Her husband killed her." As I spoke, I felt Lily's presence, her strength guiding me. Travis had taken her life, but he wouldn't take her truth. I'd make sure of it, no matter what it cost me. The weight of Lily's USB and notebook anchored me as I hung up with Officer Daniels, my voice still echoing with the truth. Travis killed her. The anonymous text, "Stop digging, Joanna," burned in my mind, a warning that only fueled my resolve. I clutched the post-it note, Lily's handwriting a lifeline. "Mom, if anything ever happens, don't believe him." My daughter had known Travis's lies, had fought to expose them, and now it was my turn. The doorbell footage, the audio of his threats, the lack of skid marks, they were pieces of a puzzle, and I was determined to find the rest. Travis thought he could scare me into silence, but he didn't know the fire of a mother's grief. I sat at my kitchen table, the laptop open, Lily's USB plugged in. The audio files had cracked my world open, but the notebook hinted at more. Found his files. He's lying about everything. What had Lily discovered? I opened the USB's folders, my heart pounding as I scanned cryptic file names. Transfers 2024, accounts offshore, correspondence. My fingers trembled as I clicked, diving into a world Lily had uncovered. A world that had cost her life. The first file was a spreadsheet, rows of numbers and dates, sums in the tens of thousands, moving to accounts I didn't recognize. Travis's name was everywhere, linked to transfers from his company, Cascade Solutions, to banks in the Cayman Islands. My breath caught. Financial fraud. Lily had worked in Cascade's accounting department. She must have stumbled onto this while auditing. Another file held emails, not from Travis's work account, but a personal one, to someone named Clara in Portland. "Meet me Thursday, usual spot, don't tell anyone." The dates matched trips Travis had taken, claiming business conferences. My stomach churned. Another woman. I leaned back, piecing it together. Lily had found Travis's double life, fraud at work, an affair in another city. The notebook's last entry confirmed it. He's stealing from Cascade, and her name is Clara. I'm telling HR tomorrow. My daughter had been ready to blow the whistle, but she never got the chance. Travis's voice from the audio haunted me. "You won't live to make that mistake." I searched Clara's name online, my fingers flying across the keyboard. A LinkedIn profile popped up. Clara Hensley, a real estate agent in Portland. Her photo, showing a polished woman in her 30s, smiling like she had no secrets. I cross-referenced Travis's emails and found her address in one. He'd been visiting her for months, wiring her money from those offshore accounts. Lily must have felt betrayed, her marriage a lie, her trust shattered. I called Cascade Solutions, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "I need to speak to HR. It's about an anonymous email sent last week. regarding Travis Harper. The HR manager, a woman named Susan, sounded puzzled. We never received anything like that. Can you provide more details? It was about financial misconduct, I said, careful not to reveal too much. Lily Harper might have sent it. A pause. Then, Lily. We were told she passed away. I'm sorry, but there's no record of an email. If you have information, you can send it directly to me. I hung up, my pulse racing. Travis must have intercepted the email, deleted it before it reached HR. He'd covered his tracks, but Lily's files were my weapon. I copied the USB's contents to my laptop, then created a burner email account. My hands shook as I attached the spreadsheets and emails, typing a brief message. Travis Harper is embezzling from Cascade Solutions. See attached proof. I sent it to Susan's email, my breath hitching as it left my outbox. Travis wouldn't bury this again. I leaned back, the kitchen clock ticking in the silence. The files painted a picture. Travis, living a secret life, siphoning money, cheating on Lily with Clara. Lily, brave and fierce, had confronted him, ready to expose his crimes. But he'd silenced her, staging a crash with no skid marks, no brakes. A murder disguised as an accident. The doorbell footage of their argument, her storming off, was the final piece. She'd been running from him, and he'd made sure she never reached me. My phone buzzed, another text from the unknown number. You're making a mistake. My blood ran cold, but I didn't flinch. I forwarded the text to Officer Daniels, adding, he's threatening me. Check these files. I attached the USB's contents, my fingers steady now. Travis was watching, but I was done hiding. I thought of Lily's last text, Mom, love you, talk tomorrow. She'd meant to tell me everything, to warn me about the man she'd married, her keepsake box, her note, her files. They were her final act of courage, a trail she'd left for me to follow. I wouldn't let her down. The doorbell rang, sharp and sudden. My heart leapt, and I crept to the window, peering through the blinds. A delivery van idled in the driveway, a package on my porch. I exhaled, my nerves frayed, but the relief was short-lived. Travis was out there, his threats closing in. I grabbed the package, a neighbor's misdelivered mail, and locked the door, my mind racing. The police had the files now, but would it be enough? And what else was Travis hiding? I opened the notebook again, flipping to a page I'd missed, a single line, in Lily's hurried scrawl. Clara knows, she's in on it. My breath caught. Clara wasn't just a mistress, she was complicit. Had she helped Travis move the money? Had she known about Lily's death? I needed to find her, to confront her. But Portland was 3 hours away, and Travis was already watching my every move. I dialed Naomi, Lily's co-worker, my voice urgent. Naomi, it's Joanna. Did Lily ever mention someone named Clara? A pause, then, yeah, once. She said she found texts on Travis's phone from a woman in Portland. Lily was devastated. Why? I think Clara's involved, I said. Lily found proof Travis was stealing from Cascade. She was going to report him, but he stopped her. Oh my God, Naomi whispered. Joanna, be careful. If he did this to Lily. I know, I said, my resolve hardening. I've sent the proof to the police and Cascade's HR, but I need to know more about Clara. I'll ask around, Naomi promised. Lily had friends at work. Someone might know something. I hung up, the weight of Lily's truth settling over me. Travis's secret life was unraveling, but every step brought me closer to danger. Clara, the money, the deleted email. Lily had died to expose it all, and now I was carrying her torch. I looked at the teacup on the counter, its sunflower pattern, a flicker of light in the dark. I'm doing this for you, I whispered, my voice steady. The police would move soon, but Travis was a step ahead, his threats a shadow over my every move. I needed to act fast, to find Clara, to uncover the full scope of his lies. Lily's voice echoed in my mind, her courage my guide. I wouldn't stop, not until Travis paid for what he'd done, and not until my daughter's truth was heard. The sunflower teacup, sat on my kitchen counter, a silent witness to the truth I'd uncovered. Lily's USB, her notebook, and the anonymous text, "You're making a mistake," burned in my mind, a map of Travis's lies. I'd sent her files to the police and Cascade Solutions HR, exposing his fraud and Clara's involvement. But the weight of it all pressed against my chest. Lily had died to reveal his secret life, embezzlement, an affair, a staged crash with no skid marks. Her courage lived in the evidence I held, and I wouldn't let her down. Travis was watching, his threats circling like vultures, but I was ready to face him. I drove to the Tacoma police station, the USB and notebook in my bag, the doorbell footage downloaded to my phone. My hands trembled as I parked, but Lily's note, "Mom, if anything ever happens, don't believe him," steadied me. Inside, Officer Daniels met me in a cramped office, his tired eyes sharpening as I laid out the evidence. The audio of Travis's threats, the financial records, the video of Lily storming off after their argument. I told him about Clara, the other woman in Portland, and the deleted email Lily had sent to HR. "This is serious," Daniels said, his voice low. "We'll open an investigation. If what you're saying checks out, we'll bring him in." "It checks out," I said, my voice fierce. "He killed my daughter. That crash wasn't an accident." Daniels nodded, jotting notes. "We'll need to verify the files and footage. I'm also pulling the crash report again. Something's off about the initial findings. Stay safe, Ms. Fields. If he's been texting you threats, don't engage." I left the station, my heart pounding but lighter. The police were listening, and Travis's house of lies was crumbling. That night, I double-checked my locks, the anonymous text replaying in my mind. Sleep didn't come easy. Every creak of the house felt like his shadow closing in. 2 days later, Daniels called. "We've got him," he said. "Travis Harper's been arrested for manslaughter and obstruction of justice. Your evidence was key. The audio, the financials, the footage. We also found discrepancies in the crash report. No brakes, no skid marks, and the car's telemetry suggests tampering. He's not talking, but we're searching his house now." Relief flooded me, but it was bittersweet. Travis was in custody, but Lily was still gone. "What about Clara?" I asked. "We're looking into her," Daniels said. "The offshore accounts are tied to her name too. If she's complicit, she'll face charges." I hung up, clutching Lily's teacup. Justice was coming, but it couldn't fill the hole in my heart. I thought of her last text, "Mom, love you, talk tomorrow," and vowed to see this through for her. The trial came faster than I expected. 6 months later, in a Tacoma courthouse, I sat in the front row, my hands clasped tightly, Naomi beside me for support. The courtroom was stark, its wooden benches filled with reporters and Cascade employees. Travis sat at the defense table, his face blank. No trace of the charming man Lily had married. Clara wasn't there. Daniels had said she'd fled to Canada, but an extradition order was in motion. The prosecutor played Lily's recordings, her voice filling the room. "If I go to the police, what will you do?" She'd cried, her fear palpable. Travis's response, "Try me. You won't live to make that mistake," drew gasps from the jury. I gripped Naomi's hand, tears streaming down my face. My daughter's courage echoed in every word, her truth cutting through Travis's lies. The financial records were presented next, detailing Travis's embezzlement. Over $2 million siphoned from Cascade Solutions to offshore accounts. Lily's anonymous email, recovered from her laptop's draft folder, was read aloud, her words meticulous and damning. The doorbell footage sealed it. Lily, arguing with Travis 10 minutes before the crash, her face fierce as she stormed off. The prosecution argued he'd tampered with her car, ensuring she'd never survive the drive. Travis's defense claimed it was circumstantial, that Lily's death was a tragic accident. But the jury's faces told a different story. Disgust, disbelief. The evidence was a tidal wave, and Travis was drowning. When it was my turn to read the victim impact statement, I stood, my legs trembling, but my voice steady. I faced Travis, his eyes avoiding mine, and spoke directly to him. "You took my daughter from me," I said, my words raw, echoing in the silent courtroom. "Lily was my light, my reason to keep going. She loved you, trusted you, and you betrayed her. You built a life of lies, stealing, cheating, hiding behind your charm. When she found the truth, you didn't just silence her, you erased her, thinking you could bury her courage with her, but you were wrong." I held up the sunflower teacup, its chipped handle gleaming under the courtroom lights. This was hers. She painted it for me, a piece of her heart. You can't take that away. Her voice, her evidence, her bravery, they're here, in this room, louder than your lies. You thought you could lock me out, scare me into silence. But today, Lily gets the last word. I sat, tears streaming, as Naomi squeezed my hand. The jury deliberated for only 3 hours before returning. Guilty on all counts: manslaughter, obstruction of justice, and fraud. Travis was sentenced to 25 years, his face pale as the judge's gavel fell. Reporters swarmed outside, but I slipped away. The teacup in my bag, Lily's presence, a quiet strength. Back home, I sat in Lily's childhood bedroom, the keepsake box open beside me. The USB and notebook were with the police now, but her post-it note rested in my hands. "Don't believe him." She'd known even then that I'd fight for her. I thought of Clara, still out there, and the money Travis had hidden. The police were closing in, but that was their battle now. Mine was over. I placed the teacup on the nightstand, its sunflowers catching the light. "You did it, baby," I whispered. "You got the last word." The phone rang. Naomi, checking in. "You okay?" she asked. "I will be," I said, my voice soft but sure. "Lily's truth is out. That's enough for now." I hung up, the house quiet but no longer empty. Lily's courage filled it, her love a warmth I'd carry forever. Travis was gone, his secrets exposed, and my daughter's voice had won. Justice had a face, hers, and I'd make sure the world never forgot it. If your child left you a warning from the grave, what would you do with it? Would you fight for truth or stay silent? The courtroom's echo of Travis's guilty verdict lingered as I drove home. Lily's sunflower teacup in my bag, her truth finally free. His 25-year sentence for manslaughter, fraud, and obstruction was justice. But it didn't fill the void of her absence. Her note, "Don't believe him," had guided me, and now, months later, I was ready to reclaim what was hers. My phone rang as I pulled into my driveway. It was Lily's lawyer, her voice gentle. "Joanna, Lily left you her house in her will. The paperwork's finalized. It's yours." My breath caught. The house Travis had locked me out of, where Lily's laughter once rang, was hers again, and now mine. I drove there, the key in my trembling hand, and stepped inside. The air felt lighter, no longer heavy with his lies. I set Lily's photo on the mantle, her smile bright from a beach day years ago. "He's gone now, sweetheart," I whispered. "You're safe." And I kept my promise. That weekend, I hosted a memorial, inviting Naomi and Lily's friends. The pale blue house buzzed with stories of her kindness, her courage. In the backyard, we planted a cherry tree in her honor, its roots sinking into soil she'd loved. Naomi hugged me, tears in her eyes. "She'd be proud of you." As the sun set, I stood alone in the living room, Lily's photo glowing in the soft light. "This house once locked me out," I said, my voice steady. "But now it's open, for truth, for healing, for Lily." The tree's leaves rustled outside, a final goodbye on her terms. My daughter's legacy was home, and I'd guard it forever. If you stayed with me through this story, thank you. Not every mother gets the chance to fight for her child after death, but I did, and I took it. Please subscribe if you believe in standing up for those who can't speak for themselves. And tell me, what would you have done in my shoes?